we do it like we do it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back and happy Friday. Okay, so this has been a fun morning already. We have Kim from Bravo Breaking News. This is going to be a great hot, messy topics. I got to get into it and get into the energy. I didn't realize I got a speeding ticket on my birthday. I was trying to run around and get things done. I was telling Kim about this, and now I can't find the ticket. So I had to call the municipal court, and I don't know what county the ticket is in. So now I'm like chasing it around. I'm going to figure it out, guys. But right now, the ticket goes to the wayside because we have some Bravo to discuss. So that's exactly what we're about to do. Guys, pop off in the comment section while the live chat, and then also smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed over here. And we also have a lot more videos coming out today in polls. But with that, let's welcome Kim from Bravo Breaking News. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Adam.
Happy Friday. You look amazing as always.
Oh, so do you. Love the backwards hat.
You know what? Kim, I'm a disaster. And I was trying to tell people this the other day. I was talking to Leba, and every time I see her, I'm falling over a table, or I'm spilling something, or I'm breaking something. I'm the biggest klutz. And then they said, "What happened to your arm?" I said, "I was trying to make pizza rolls and I burned my arm." And she's like, "How the do you burn your arm, like your bicep, if anything, on pizza rolls?" I'm like, "Because I'm a disaster and I'm owning it." And that's where I'm at.
Adam, I mean, as much turmoil as our lives can be in, that's why we watch Bravo, because they will never be as bad as the people we watch on Bravo. It kind of makes us put things into perspective and feel a little better about our messy lives that are not as messy as what we're watching. You know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. Vicky Harnish, how is the peppy, precious, pretty pony Pippa? She has gone through 7 pairs of my shoes. 7. Okay. So Pippa is becoming very expensive, but she's a baby and I love her. And I thought I had an armadillo in the backyard because I keep getting these random holes in my backyard. Then I checked the cameras. That armadillo's name is Pippa. So it's okay. She's a work in progress. I'm going to call her Ramona. Pippa is now Ramona. Okay.
But always a work in progress.
Always a work in progress. All right. So, Kim, we have a lot to discuss. I don't even know where to start. I kind of think I want to start with the Jersey of it all, but we have OC, Jersey, the Valley, Vanderpump Rules. Like, where are you at?
Yeah, let's start off with a bang. Let's start off with Jersey. I feel like every Friday we come on here and there is something new to talk about in regards to Jersey. And I do have to say, I know I've told you, I've shit on Jersey for a while. I say it's too dark. I don't like watching it. I caught up. I was firmly seated for that reunion. And I'm, although, yes, it is still dark and not fun to watch, I'm in it now. I'm in for the drama and the aftermath of Dolores's dinner and everything that's going on podcasts and social media now. So let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, guys, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. I did a video on it and I did a TikTok. Louie Ruelas ended up, you can tell the stress is getting him. He's aging quick. Being in this relationship, he looks like and I'm not one to talk about people's looks, but this is especially, guys, I'm missing a tooth. Like, I got a pizza roll burn. It's okay. I feel like I'm entitled to say shit. But with Louie Ruelas in current time, he kind of reminds me of a president that starts off their term and then ends their term, where they showed the before and after 4 years. And that's what he's giving me. But this guy tends to put his foot in his mouth a lot. You know what I do sometimes for the girls? I wear their grandfather's pajamas to make them feel safe. I do that. And it's like, no, that's not weird at all. So if you guys didn't catch it, he ended up doing a podcast with his wife, Teresa Giudice. And while doing said podcast, he was talking to her about her daughters. And he was saying, babe, like, it's like when we were in Greece, I told your daughters, I said, wear thongs, show your legs, dance on tables, like, do it now while you can. What the actual are you talking about? Like that. I'm wondering if he does not understand how, and I'm not calling him a predator at all, but how predatory that sounds, but also how alarming that would sound. And for Juicy Joe over there in the Bahamas, knowing that his daughters are in the house with him, I'm like, I would not want my kids in the house with this guy. I just wouldn't.
No, it's absolutely disgusting. I can't believe they would even say that. Like, is this podcast live? Because there's something called editing. Like, even like a normal person would maybe say something like that. I think that the point he was trying to make was like, have fun while you're young and stuff like that. But he definitely took it too far. What he said was absolutely disgusting. Wouldn't a normal person think about that and be like, oh, maybe that didn't come off the right way, let's edit that out? No, they just released the episode, and of course it's getting picked up everywhere because it is probably the most inappropriate thing that a man can say about young woman, especially one who is now their stepfather. And I'm very, very curious if Gia or somebody is going to come out and say something like this, whether they back him up or, is he going to come out and apologize? We got an apology. Well, I don't know if you can call it an apology, about Margaret after the finale last week. Is he going to come out and say something this week? I mean, is this just going to be the new way of life for Louie? Every week he has something new to apologize for?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, I have stepsisters, I have stepbrothers. I know my dad. I was talking to my dad this morning. I talk to my parents every single morning on the way to the gym, on the way back. I have like a call list. I just like go down. It's like my phone time. And I asked my dad, I said, would you ever say that? And he said, there is no way. He's like, he said, when I stepped in as a stepfather to your stepsisters, my thing was I wanted to protect them. I did not want them to grow up too fast. I didn't want them to go because my stepsisters used to wear Sophies and crop tops, and we would go to football games and they would go to walk out, and my dad would be like, turn your ass around, go back into the room, put clothes on, or stay home. You want to dress like that? You stay home. And
I
and
know
we would
it's
be
normally the
so mad.
opposite. It's
Yeah.
normally the opposite, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally normally the opposite, especially when you're in a foreign country. And I understand it's Greece, it's party, it's fun. But these are things where whether you're in a controlled environment or not, people sit there and prey on young girls. And people look for girls to go out and like it's sad, it's sick, but it's true. And I wouldn't promote that as a father figure ever. My dad's brother has a daughter that they go out and they do line dancing on Wednesdays. So there's a bar that's local and it's family night on Wednesdays at this bar. So all of the kids get to come as long as you're 16 and older and you get to line dance at the bar. Well, I was talking to my dad about it, and sometimes, his brother will end up leaving the bar and then leaves the daughter with their friends as long because they know it's controlled. And I'm like, what do you mean it's controlled? It's still a bar. The other 6 days a week, it's a bar. You think because it's family night that there's not predators there, like who are just sitting there waiting for you to walk out into the parking lot, grab your ass, do something like they were taking kids from Disney, let alone a bar or Mykonos, a foreign country, like Greece, a foreign country, not Mykonos, a foreign, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just a
I
Disney.
mean,
It's weird.
yeah, and I feel like, Louie, I'm not saying this is what we've come to expect, but he's kind of like a grease ball. He's a sleaze ball. He's creepy. He like says weird stuff. He does weird stuff. Like, that's fine. I hope that Teresa, like a lot of people are saying in the comments, she was kind of like agreeing with him on the podcast. Like, she didn't really say much in response. She was just kind of like, yeah, yeah, like, but I hope looking back on it now and rewatching, a red flag goes up. Now, I don't know. There are a lot of red flags that Louis has that Teresa has just like breezed right over. But I think that if there's one that's maybe going to ding, 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 like light up in her brain, it's about her daughters. She loves her daughters. She will do anything for them. She's raised beautiful, very strong, successful daughters. They're all going to college. Like what an amazing family that she has raised. And if Louie is trying to come in and ruin that or do anything to, you know, have harm on these women, like she needs to do something about that very quickly before it gets out of control.
Do you think that this is one of the moments that, like Jennifer Aiden was saying from the season finale, where sometimes Teresa takes a minute to process, and in that moment she was like, "Yeah, what? What did you just say?"
I mean, totally, 100%. I hope that's the case. You know what I mean? Because in the moment, you're just having this conversation, and then you look back on it, especially now that it's in the media. I hope she's kind of seeing the other side of it, at least now that everybody's calling it out. So I don't know. I just hope that she realizes, I mean, this man is just trouble. Every week there's something new about him that comes out. And, you know, a lot of people are saying he single-handedly is responsible for ruining Real Housewives of New Jersey. What do you think about that statement?
Well, I think it's funny because you have Siggy Flicker, who she, and I don't want to bash other content creators because I'm not here to do that. What I will point out is the obvious. I love and I cover their content, all about the Real Housewives and all about the Real Housewives podcast. They are very much so on the side of Teresa Giudice and Jennifer Aiden, and they bring in people who slam the hell out of Melissa Gorga and Margaret Josephs, and that is just the truth. It's very black and white. It's right in your face. You see it. So Siggy Flicker comes on, and I saw where she did a podcast, and she said an interview, and she was like, "This woman looks like a grandma, and she's disgusting. She's married to a plumber. He needs to clean the shit out of her pipes, and she single-handedly destroyed the franchise." I'm like, wow, you sound so bitter. And then I thought about it, and I'm watching even the moment where she's like, "You subpoenaed the wrong bitch." I'm like, no, Margaret Josephs is great TV. Like, she's fantastic TV. And that moment with Jackie Goldschneider at the end was the finale. Then I think about Louie Ruelas. And I also understand coming into a relationship where you might have your new partner, whether it's a man, woman, however you identify, and they might have toxic siblings. I have toxic siblings. My husband walked into that. So in doing so, like knowing that I have that, I can understand where Louie would want to come in and be protective. However, I think he took from protective to controlling. I think now he has isolated Teresa Giudice and put her on an island where he can have control. It's like a mind F where he has control over her and the daughters. They live in the castle and they don't have contact with the outside like realm of family or anybody else. And I truly, truly believe if Juicy Joe Giudice was still in the United States, this wouldn't be flying. But I know, or I feel that he knows I'm so far removed. If I fight this, I'm going to lose them and I can't do anything about it. So I just kind of have to, okay, this is fine. You know?
You're so right. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. He's definitely isolating her, and it's scary to watch because she is somebody who falls quickly and really wanted to find somebody. And like, I feel like he took that as an opportunity and knew what he could do to kind of sway her and like keep her all to himself. I've also been seeing a lot of people being like, just when we thought, you know, Teresa couldn't find a worse husband than Joe Giudice, who put her in jail for a year, I don't know. I mean, in a way, okay, Joe Giudice seems like a saint compared to Louie. I mean, yes, he did commit a crime, and yes, he did go to jail for 4 years. So that's saying a lot to say that Louie is almost worse than Joe Giudice, who went to prison and sent his wife to prison. But it's different. Like, it's almost like, I don't know, you can kind of draw the line between, you know, someone's personality and who they are as a person, but maybe their business like dealings are not. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just shady. Like, Joe Giudice was a great father. He seems to have like, you know, he's very appropriate. Like, he just acts like a father should act. And the way Louis is acting is obviously It's like he's never had kids before in his life, but he has children. He should know better.
Yeah. Yeah, he has boys though. And I guess sometimes maybe there's a difference. I don't know. I mean, my dad only had a son. That's me. I'm that bitch. But, you know, like even when he stepped in, he was very much so father forward in the way that he thought, and just like a protect. My dad is a monster. If anybody messes with my stepsisters, my dad's going to jail. Like he's crazy. But he's crazy because he's protective. And even still to this day, when they come over and they're all like, however they want to dress, my dad's like, really? Really? And he'll come out and put a jacket over them. He's like, really? What are we doing? And they're like, stop, relax. You're not my dad. And he's like, tonight I am, you little asshole. Tonight I am. And so cover up. But I don't know. Everybody can do whatever they want. I think that especially with the youngest one still being underage, I don't know who it applied to, but it is what it is. I also saw his apology for what he said about Margaret Joseph's son and Margaret, saying that he hopes that they suffer. And then I saw where Andy Cohen said that that was one of the darkest moments that he has seen on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. And what alarms me, I think, the most is the fact that we see this and we see this behavior, but it's so extreme. Like, it's like, I hope they suffer. And guys, I want to get together and do, you know, like kind of like a 30-second I love you to share with our wives how important they are to us and what that really truly means as a family. Fuck him. I hope that he suffers, but I want you guys to love. Love, love, love. We're in the love bubble, babe. It's like, this is so scary.
It's like the cracks are starting to show. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, his first few seasons on Housewives, you know, you can be very intentional about what you say on camera and careful about how you act and stuff. But like after a while, you almost kind of forget that the cameras are there. And I feel like we kind of got that this season, even though we really didn't get much from Louie, but we got some snippets that I think are like starting to show his true colors. And I mean, that whatever he did, video film for Teresa, was probably the cringiest thing on the entire season. But and it doesn't make any sense, Adam. It will never make any sense. He wishes ill on Margaret and her son and says all this mean stuff. Then Margaret points out that it was actually Jackie, and they're like, "Oh, we don't care. It's just like it doesn't mean anything. It's not real." You know what I mean? Like they're not upset with Jackie.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't, you know, wish ill will on Jackie or her family at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, he's just, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. The math isn't mathing.
Did you see the letter that he allegedly wrote before he went into that warrior camp?
I saw it come up, but I did not read it in its entirety. Give me a summary.
Oh, here's the summary. Let me read it for you. So it's to Dr. Garrett. Garrett is the guy it's Garrett White, who owns out of kind of like Dana Point. That's where him and his wife live out of, or close to. So Orange County guys. But when you want to go into like a warrior camp, this warrior camp, you have to literally just talk about all of the shitty things that you've done, and you have to own it in order to get into the camp. And that is the beginning. Well, this letter ended up surfacing. Let me just read it. Hi, my name is Louie Ruelas. I am 45 years old and the father of two boys, Nicholas 18 and Louie 16. I was married for 10 years to Marissa, and she has custody of Nicholas, who is autistic and low functioning. Little Louie stays with me and sees his mother from time to time. The divorce was difficult, but we have managed to become closer in the last 6 months. My fiance is an accomplished psychotherapist in a private practice, and she has helped me learn some things about myself. I'm here today because it has come to my attention over the last year and a half that I am mentally unhealthy due to bipolar 1. I also have ADHD, extreme anxiety, PTSD. I deal with extreme insecurities, and I'm also a drug addict. I frequently press others in my vicinity to meet me at my frequency, which is very high. And when they do not do so, I punish them with passive-aggressive behavior. I have done this my whole life. I've had success in my business due to my bipolar and creative thinking, but not my personal life. I'm inconsistent, loud, obnoxious, selfish, aggressive, a nasty person, as well as impulsive, women bashing, dysregulated, unstable, narcissistic, egotistical, spoiled, and boundaryless. An uneducated psychopath whose only desires are to power my way through my issues or any issues with my money, and I'm pathetic. I'm an anxious lunatic with no self control who buzzes around in a high frequency mania with a hyper sex drive, yet no ability to self soothe except with marijuana, which is the only time my fiance can tolerate me. I sit in the steam room for at least an hour a day, ruminating and planning, and I am a gluttonous fool whose only goal is to feed my ID. I whimper and sulk and need constant attention, or I make the people around me suffer. Now it continues on, but this is in order to go into the camp, basically, or the boot camp, from what I understand, is you have to share all of these things. That's how you get in. And so this came out, and also in this, he says he has the ability to make people believe him and make people like to kind of drive the storyline, right? So now that makes me wonder, looking at him and reading that, I'm like, who in fact do you have in your home? You know?
Yeah. I mean, is there like a mental illness that isn't listed on that letter? Because it kind of seems like he just listed every single thing that could potentially be wrong with you. And I mean, granted, it kind of makes sense. Maybe he's taking accountability to this, but it doesn't really seem like that boot camp did anything, because I think he still shows signs of all of these things. At least some of them that we've seen on the show,
Yeah.
aggression, bipolarness. I think it makes sense. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to say, he does have this, but
You're not a
he,
doctor?
I'm not a doctor, guys.
Okay.
Surprise. But he he definitely shows signs of this, and he's saying it himself. So yeah, it's kind of it. So the math here is mathing for me. Yes, it's making sense.
Okay. We're gonna move on from New Jersey, but before we do, the rumor is that if they bring two cast members back, it's going to be Dolores and Teresa, and then 4 or 5 new people. Um, could you see where that would be a possibility? Like now that you've caught yourself up, what do you feel the future of New Jersey looks like if you had to guess?
I feel good about that. I just really would prefer to never see Louie on my screen again. I would love to have Teresa and the daughters without Louie. Now, is that realistic? I don't know. But I don't know. He said some inappropriate things. People do inappropriate things on Bravo and they get punished. You know what I mean? This like threat on Margaret's son is not really something to joke about coming from, I don't know, somebody like him. So maybe there will be some sort of punishment for that. Maybe he'll take a step back. I would prefer that. As far as Teresa and Dolores kind of headlining the new spinoff, I'm here for it. I do like watching Teresa. I think she is the backbone of this show. I think Dolores has proved herself to be a very pivotal part of the show and the franchise, and somebody who can bridge the gap. So I'm here for it. What do you think?
Well, the only reason, or more of a reason, that I have I mean, I have a problem with I hope the son suffers, and that I think that's disgusting. But what makes me more nervous about it is sometimes I think that we think that words don't hold weight, and it just takes me back to oh my god, why am I blanking on her? The Manzo sister. Come on. The one
Dina?
who Dina. Yes, thank you. Dina Manzo, like coming to her home with her ex, waiting for them, tying them up, beating them. It's like you just don't know. And I'm not saying Louis is capable of doing that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying when somebody threatens you, it's like don't take that lightly. If somebody's threatening you, or if somebody's saying something that sounds alarming, then let those words have weight, and understand that if they have the ability to speak it out there, then sometimes they can have the ability to act on it as well. And that's a very scary thing to deal with, and a very scary person to deal with. And that's my personal opinion on that. But
I agree. And just to one more thing. So when Andy addressed this, it was on the Bitch Sesh podcast with Casey and Danielle. Love them so much. But he was basically saying, like, now that he has children, he kind of watches housewives very differently. He takes things that people say very differently. He can kind of relate to it personally now. So I think that if he has anything to say about this, I'm not sure that Louie will be back on our screens anytime soon. I think that what he said was that was the darkest thing ever. And he basically said, I don't know, he kind of implied basically that will not fly with him.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hope so. I think that it's disgusting, but oif. Okay, guys. So from that point, I want to move on over to this really quick. Just this conversation of what is going on with Brittany Cartwright and Jax Taylor. Now, I saw you did a post where Brittany might have a new man. Maybe. Can you tell us a little?
Yes. So I don't watch The Bachelor, guys. I'm sorry. I'm like a Bravo loyalist, but apparently she's been seen hanging out with this guy from The Bachelor who is very good looking, I have to say. Nothing's confirmed. I'm not sure they're dating. I guess that they met at a watch party at Jax's Studio City. I think they've been doing some watch parties for the new season of The Bachelorette. She met him there and they kind of hit it off. There's several pictures of them hanging out in multiple different places. So it definitely seems like they've, kind of been continuing to see each other and spend time together. Yes, Tanner Cortad. I mean, I am so here for this. I think I don't know anybody who wouldn't be here for this because I think we want Brittany to find happiness and find love and find somebody who supports her. So I am all here for this. Now, is it confirmed? Are they together? I don't know. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Adam?
Well, one, I want to say, just like when after Shannon got her DUI, Shannon lost, like she at BravoCon looked very healthy. She looked like she wasn't drinking, and you could tell there was definitely a lifestyle change. And a lot of that too, like, I don't want to sit there and say weight is anything, because I will put on 30 pounds and I will lose 50, and then I will put on 60 and I'll lose 40. Like, that is me. We're all different. And that could also have been a lot of the stress that came with the legal and all of that. All of that can make you, suppress your appetite, all of the things. But for Brittany, she looks damn good. She looks healthy. She looks happy. She looks like she lost 220 pounds of a man child with a Peter Pan syndrome. And I am all here for it, especially because this woman spent years and years. She got cheated on. She always was trying to revive his image to the public and explain why she loves him so much and why he's a great man behind the scenes, and what we don't get to see, what's edited out from the show. Then the very chance that they get to come back to reality TV on the Valley, he literally paints her as an alcoholic who has an issue while she's just trying to balance being a mom, a wife to a narcissist, and also having a life. So when she was kind of in a moment where she would maybe have some drinks and she would get sick, he shit on her. So now Jax Taylor has checked himself into a mental health facility. That's what they're saying. I've seen some rumors all over the internet saying that potentially it's a rehab. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure, because at the very beginning, when Rachel, Rocky, I don't even know what her name is anymore, but when she checked herself into the Meadows, a lot of us thought it was a spa, that she went to a spa, and that she was not actually in a mental health facility. So I don't want to say he's not somewhere that he could very much so well be in that place. But I saw where he posted from there saying that as a man, he suffered in silence and all of the things. I hope that he gets the help that he needs. But for her, I've even seen where she's posted the photo of the before and after with the Mona Lisa. The first one was the Mona Lisa, just regular, and she's like before a narcissist. And the second one was with Megan Fox, and the Mona Lisa had some bubbies out and whatnot. And she was like after a narcissist. And I'm like, she's not buying his shit. And if she's not buying it, she knows him better than any of us. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think she stayed with him way too long, way longer than I feel like anybody else would stay with this man who treats her the way that we've seen. If that's how he treats her on the show, imagine what it is like behind closed doors. I mean, it has got to be out of control. And I feel like her moving out, getting the Airbnb, co-parenting with Cruz, kind of taking her space, doing her own thing, has taught her that she doesn't need to live like this. There is grass on the other side, and the grass is much, much greener on the other side. So I think she finally was able to step out and see what it's like. I do think that it seems like Jax needs help. I do hope he gets the help that he needs, but that doesn't mean that she has to get back together with him, even if he, chooses to better himself. I feel like there's too much history there. Maybe they will rekindle. I don't know. Maybe he will, you know, get better, get the help he needs. They will be able to resolve things, but I don't know. I do want to see Brittany happy, and she does seem, at least in the photos, that we've seen and the videos, she seems like a completely changed, like, better person. It's like night and day.
So another thing I want to add in here is, in my experience dealing with reality TV personalities, a lot of things are very calculated. Like at Andy's baby shower, the Potomac ladies got together and they were going to pin on Monique Samuels and her husband that Monique's child did not belong to Chris Samuels. Like, there are things that they do that I find to be very disgusting, but a lot of the ones that stay around will go into a new season with very calculated motives and how they're going to operate, because they think that that will lead in their favor. And I do wonder, when you had all of this time off from the Valley, why you did not seek any sort of treatment or anything. But then the minute that the cameras go up, I can already see this season, the Valley season 2, of being like, I know I'm a bad guy and I need help and I'm going to do that. And, and I'm sorry. And I could see Brittany being like, you're an asshole and the way you treated me. And I know I'm a shitty person. I'm a bad I can see where he's going to go on this trail to be like, guys, feel bad for me. And it's like, no, no way. No way, after all of this time that you've had ample opportunity to portray yourself as a better person, to be a better man for your wife and for your child. Now all of a sudden the cameras are up and you want all of this sympathy. I'm not buying it. I'm not subscribing to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving Tom Sandoval redemption arc. And I feel like we're going to see in the Valley season 2 that, he's trying to make up for his sins and everything that we saw last season. But I don't know. The viewers are smarter than that. We're not going to fall for like a fake storyline of you seeking help when you don't mean it. I hope he does. But I don't know. I think time will tell. We'll just have to see, and I don't know, make our own decision.
If okay, well, guys, time will tell. Speaking of which, right now people are talking about Sheena and a few of the other castmates. If you guys don't know, Lala Kent just scored a 2-part special with Amazon. It's going to follow her in getting ready for her new baby. She says Amazon's like a safe space for her. Then you have Ariana Madix, who is killing it. She killed it with Love Island. She's definitely getting asked back. She is reprising her role as Roxy Hart in Chicago. Got asked back. I'm sure she'll get asked for more Broadway opportunities. She's still continuing to do all of these things. And you go down the line, Katie and Ariana just made over $1.8 million in merch sales for Something About Her. They're finally past all of the limitations that they have with all of the permits. Like, things are going good. But then you have some cast members, and Sheena is my girl. I love Sheena. But girl, you just bought a $3 million home. And now all of a sudden, because in the height of it during Scandival, you guys were making a shit ton of money. But I can see, like, in her face a little bit while she's doing interviews and stuff, like, it almost comes off like she's a little worried. And how could you not be? I would be terrified. How do you pay the mortgage on that? Do you guys know what the mortgage on that is? It's like 15,000 plus a month. So just to do the numbers to make this make sense for everybody, 15 times 12, that's $180,000 without the Palm Springs home that she has to come up with every single year for just her mortgage, without property taxes, without the electric bill, without the water bill, without feeding her daughter, putting her daughter in school, feeding herself, feeding Brock, like doing all of the things that she has to do with the glam and all of that. That's almost $200,000 alone that she has to come up with before she can even live. That's insane.
It's insane. I wish her luck. I do think that the show's going to come back. I do think that Sheena will have some sort of place on Bravo. I know that they've said she's not coming to the Valley, but she's been hanging out with that Valley crew quite a bit on social media, at least. So I don't know. While, I don't think that Vanderpump is what it used to be. I'm not sure that Ariana is coming back. I think she has bigger and better things to do.
I hope so.
I'm not sure we've seen the last of Sheena on Bravo. So I think that she might be okay.
Okay. Well, speaking of which, guys, before we move on from Vanderpump in the Valley and we go over to the OC, Raquel, Rachel, Rocky, still don't know her fucking name, but we're trying to figure it out. I'm toothless, not homeless. And I'm over here with my pizza roll burn, and I'm just trying to understand the way the Bravo world works, okay? Why it spins the way it spins. And we have Raquel, Rocky, who has now said that she could see herself potentially returning, but only if they paid for her mental health bills, like the mental health spa, let's call it that, the mental health facility, the place where she went to get better, that cost her over 6 figures. So in order for them to bring her back, she wants those bills paid, and she also wants a therapist on hand. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but for Bravo, if in fact you are a contracted talent with Bravo, you do have access to therapists. You do have access to help. You're going through them and their channels, yes, 100%, but you do have the access to it. So that would be an easy way for them to do it. But she's saying that she wants a therapist on point at every time that she films, all of these things. It seems a little unrealistic. But then on top of that, she said, but really, I couldn't see that. I don't see that working out that way. So I would do a competition show. My only problem with this is when Rachel Rocky, when she speaks, I don't give any merit to what she's saying anymore, because she said she was doing Rachel Goes Rogue, nothing about Vanderpump Rules. The whole podcast became about Vanderpump Rules. Okay, good. She also said, no, Bethany, I now know my worth. And as a woman and the way that I was treated, I am going to be a beacon of light for other women. And I am going to show them that you don't have to lay over and deal with this. And then she's saying, but if you pay me enough, hold on, this beacon of light just might dim out because money talks, bitch. So you pay me and I might be showing back up. So now it's just saying that you don't have a whole lot of credibility because you can say something, but your words don't carry weight. That's my opinion as a viewer. You might have a totally different opinion.
Oh, no, I have a similar opinion to you. I can't decide though, like whether Vanderpump Rules would, whether we need her back. On one hand, she would cause a lot of drama coming back into the group. The whole Sandoval dating someone new, Schwartz, Ariana, like whether Ariana's coming back, I don't know. Yeah, she would definitely like throw everything up. It would just be chaos. On the other hand, though, are we kind of over Scandival? Are we kind of over all of this and past all of this? Like, it definitely seems like she would come back with the victim mentality and she would just it's like we see right through like her motives. And I think that you're spot on that it's money. It's money that's motivating her. Her podcast isn't making any money. Sure, she talked about a lot when this season first came out. She was like, revealing things that she actually said and all this stuff. It was kind of interesting to follow at the beginning. But I think that her viewership and listenership has dropped right off. I don't really think anybody gives a shit anymore. So it would just be to put her back in that spotlight, make up for the money that she thought her podcast might be making. And I don't know, it just definitely doesn't seem genuine because she's just going back on everything she said she was going to do. So I don't know. But do you think that it would be like good drama for the show, seeing as like we're kind of in this like limbo phase where we're not sure what's going on with the cast members?
Yeah, I actually don't see them having a show really without her going into another season, only because I don't think Ariana's going to come back. And I think if doesn't come back, then they can easily integrate her back in because then she has conflict resolution with Sheena. I think Sheena's past it. I think that Tom Schwartz would be a sucker for her, and I think Katie would be pissed off about that. I think that Tom Sandoval's girlfriend would try to rip into her, and she would be like, well, I can't wait till it happens to you. I think that James's girlfriend would be like, we're good. I'm living the life that you thought you were going to live. And James would be like, I cannot stand to be around you. I think that she would be a driving force on the show for a new season. But if you take her out and you take Ariana out, I truly don't know. I know that they're all going forward in different directions, but I don't know, aside from Lala and her new baby, we're not going to see James's amazing DJing career because he's going to have to stay put for the amount of time that he's filming. He might do like 1 or 2 gigs in Vegas and they might film it, but nothing like crazy. I don't see how the show would move forward without it. I think it would be a great driving force.
I agree. I agree. And the lawsuit and everything between her and Tom, that would definitely be a major storyline point. But I don't know. Do you think that in some way, like our standards for these shows have gotten so high, like there has to be some major breaking news, like, scandal or moment for the show to thrive? I mean, because in past seasons, like Old School Housewives, like there wasn't any big news or anything like that. It was just like petty fights between friends and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I miss a little bit. Like, do we always need this huge scandal bombshell to make a good season? Or can we just like watch these people live their lives and have petty fights and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the standards have changed a little bit, especially for Vanderpump Rules because of Scandival. So part of us feels like they have to like keep up that momentum and that drama for us.
I think, unfortunately, for viewers and people, just a natural way of life is setting a bar. I think that when you get paid a certain amount from a company, you go to another company, you want that same pay or more. I think that, like, if you start lifting and you hit, like, you're now bench pressing 200, you want to bench press 200 plus. Like, I think that, unfortunately, I agree with what you're saying, that it used to be so cotton candy and that was just enough for us. Kyle's white party, where she said, like, don't put your hands on my husband or else you're going to have a problem. Like, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Or the morally corrupt Faye Resnick, it wasn't that deep. However, we've so surpassed that with Lindsay and Carl and Scandival and, Erica Girardi and Tom Girardi and Teresa and Louie. And now we have these big moments where it's like viewers are like, well, what do we have? Like, what
Right.
are you going to bring? Because if the women are just arguing over, okay, well, I ordered pork and I got steak, then maybe we don't have a show. Even on OC, which we're about to transition to, we have a scandal. Right?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay. Well, let's get into OC. Last night, you guys. Um, before I get into what everybody really wants to talk about, I want to ask Kim about Gina and Katie. Katie G. Gina, poor Katie. Not poor Katie, but poor Katie. But not poor Katie. Because Katie came in and she thought she was going to have a moment. She had the worst receipt I've ever seen. It just said yes, because she asked her friend, did the DeBros stage this for the paparazzi? Yes. Oh my God. And it's like, that ain't landing. You didn't land the plane, girl. You just crashed it. And now Gina realizes that she didn't land the plane. And Gina realizes, oh shit, I don't want to lose Heather Dubrow, because if Heather goes against me, she has more pull with the network. And my ass is already on the line. So now she's like, Katie, I'm not going to sacrifice a friendship because of what you wanted to do. And I'm looking at her like, you definitely pushed her to do that. You definitely planted in her head that if she wants to make a splash on this season, this is the way to do it. And then the minute that that did not work out, the minute that the going got tough, Gina got going.
I mean, oh God. Gina intentionally threw Katie under the bus. Gina is now taking on the role of pot stirrer. She's learned from the best, Tamra Judge. So she's going to bring her friend in, encourage her to bring up this drama, and then be like, oh, no. Like, I have nothing to do with this. I have nothing to do with this. Whereas Katie is this newbie coming in. She thought that Gina was loyal to her, that their friendship was strong and solid. She was coming in with this person who was going to back her up. Little did she know that Gina was just playing the housewives game. She was throwing her into the fire and walking away, leaving her out to dry. So I think Katie is quickly seeing that and being like, okay, whoa. I thought this person that brought me into this show would have my back. But no, she is just literally trying to encourage me to go say this, to drum up a storyline, and to create a feud that Gina now wants nothing to do with and is acting like she is not responsible. I'm glad that Heather's calling her out. I'm glad that Katie is seeing it too. But Gina, I see right through you.
If I were Katie, I would flip the script on Gina and I would go over to Heather and be like, you know what? Let me say this really quick. Was this an asshole thing for me to do because I wasn't even around at the time? Yes, it was. But I was told X, Y, and Z and how this would make a splash. And you know what? As a grown ass adult, I made a silly decision. And in making that silly decision, I compromised a potentially amazing friendship with you because I thought that maybe this would make more of a splash and do something more for me. So it was very self-serving. So for that, as a grown woman, I apologize. And I've learned from it. Sometimes you make mistakes and you learn from them, but that is what Housewives is. It's conflict and resolution. And I would flip this script on her in 2 seconds. Like, I would be like, oh, okay, that's what we're playing. Good.
Yeah,
Good to know.
Katie seems smart. Katie seems smart. I think I hope that happens too. I think that bringing this up in the first place was a complete stretch. The receipt was a total flop. It means absolutely nothing. Did Heather call the paparazzi to Disneyland or somebody in her camp? Of course. Paparazzi are not hanging at Disneyland, guys. This is inside the park. They're not just buying a ticket and strolling around seeing what celebrities are there. No, they were definitely planted. But is Katie also desperate by bringing this up? Yes. But now I think that Gina encouraged her to bring it up and was like, what dirt do you have on these women? Here, when you come in, you got to come in hot and bring this up and everything. And I think that Gina totally steered her wrong. And I blame Gina.
Yeah. All right. So now moving over to, because we can bypass the rest of it. We don't need to go through the Galentines and all of that. But what I do want to talk about is the moment that Gina put together this dinner with the prefix menu. I hate a prefix menu. Can I tell you, my husband took me on a date the other day. We went to this place called R&D Kitchen in Charleston. Super cute. It's the chefs who are notorious for being assholes. They will tell you they're just snarky. Have you ever heard of the place called Dick's in Vegas, where they come in and they're like, "Who wants water?" And you're like, "Oh, I'll take a water." And they're like, "Go off. Good, go get your own water." And it's like, I actually don't know if you're bringing me a water or if you really want me to go get my own water, but it's their shtick, you know?
Right.
So he took me on this date where it's a 5-course prefix menu. You don't know what you're going to get. And I was asking about the wine. I said, "What kind of white wine do you have?" And they said the kind that's white. And I was like, "Great. Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio. Do we got bubbles? Do we not? I don't know, you know?" And they're like, "It's white. What's the question?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? What's the question? This is supposed to be a nice experience. There's only 4 tables in the entire restaurant. They do 2 sittings." So the 5-course meal comes out. Out of all 5, I ate at the very end the peach cobbler because I wasn't eating the white bean soup. I wasn't eating the fig and whatever the shit. I wasn't eating any of the rest of it. And they kept coming out and they're like, "Why are you not eating?" And I'm like, "Oh no, this was a surprise dinner and I didn't know that I was going to be eating here. So I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be offensive." And Jason's like, "It wasn't a surprise dinner. You knew we were coming." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up. Shut up."
Don't throw me under the bus.
Yeah. I'm like, "They already hate me. So don't shut up." Anyways, that was my story on the prefix menu. But getting back to it, they all show up and Shannon Bedore needs backup. So she invites Queen Victoria. Now, as she did, and I'm actually not mad at her for inviting Vicky to have backup. Nobody else is backing her up. Why wouldn't she invite Vicky? I think it makes sense. Alexis Bellino shows up with receipts and an agenda. What I'm not liking about watching Alexis Bellino right now is I feel like she is fighting somebody else's battle. And I totally agree with Emily Simpson in the sense that, like, you cannot say in the same breath that, "Oh, I have receipts on this woman, but also I would love for us to get to know each other." It's like, no, those two things cannot be mutually, like, they cannot be the same. They don't both exist at the same time. So you're a moron for saying that. But then when John Jansen was laying next to Shannon Bedore in bed or on the boat or wherever, and he was deciding to pay for her facelift and pay for her bills and all of the things, you were not there. You weren't privy to those conversations. And when Alexis is screaming at the rest of the women, like Vicky and stuff, saying, "You're only hearing one side," girl, so are you. You're only hearing one side. And you're fighting this man's battle when you don't know the other side to it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, Adam. Well, I did
Not
interact
oh,
with
Adam.
Alexis and John this week, guys. I went
What?
to the opening of the Bravo TV Experience pop-up in LA. I had quite the interaction with them. That's all I'm going to say.
Wait, no. Wait, can you give us, like, was it a very positive interaction? Was it a little bit slightly maybe off, or was it just a bad interaction? Can you give us anything?
Alexis was nice. John was very standoffish for somebody who is at a Bravo TV event, like, purposefully going to this event and then being like, "Oh,
Mhm.
no, I don't want to talk to anybody." So it was surprising, but not. But he, yeah, I don't know. He rubs me the wrong way, as he does a lot of people. But again, like I said about Katie's receipts, the receipts were a flop. What is Alexis trying to prove? Bringing the wire transfer of the money, whether Shannon got the money from John or not, is not the issue. She's admitting to getting the money from John. What's in question is whether it was a loan or whether it was gifted to her. And a wire transfer proves nothing. It says nothing about that. It doesn't say what his intentions were. So I think it was like a flop. And the fact that John gave those to Alexis to bring out is like, for somebody that's trying to stay private and stay below the radar and not under the spotlight, like, I'm not buying it for 1 second. Like, why? Why are you doing this then?
Well, and then you know what else I don't get? And I have to say, Victoria Gumbelson, I actually feel bad for her. I hate that Teddy said, "Welcome, housewives," and Vicky. Because it's like, You're also not a housewife. You're trying to get on the same show that she is, that she built. You're trying to get in the house that she built. Okay. And then also, when she was like, "Welcome to my world," you could tell Alexis to me, there's the door, Shannon Bedore. Welcome to my world. Like, you can tell that she is coming in thinking that she knows what's going to land with the audience. And unfortunately, when you come in that calculated, it's not going to land the same way that you think it's going to land. Instead, it's just going to be inauthentic, not organic. Like, I was watching reruns the other day of Jersey, and Teresa at the reunion looked, I think it was like season 3 or season 4, she looked at Jacqueline and said, "Look at you, you're in red, you're like the devil." And the year before, she said that to Melissa Gorga, and she said, "And you're wearing green with envy, you're green with envy." But it was quick, it was fast, and it was not calculated. She was not coming with that, so it was good. It was like something that landed. Now when you come in and you're like, "Yeah, John, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna," same thing goes with Teresa on the finale when Louie gassed her up to be so pissed off at Margaret Josephs, to not want to talk to Margaret Josephs. And Margaret was sitting there saying to her face, "Yes, I DM'd these women. This woman who you're calling your new best friend, she had them in her house." And Teresa was like, "Well, fuck, what do I do now? How do I answer that? I don't know." You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming off calculated 100%, and I don't know. I just feel like this would have been brought up, whether it was brought up at the dinner or not. She came with this intention, and it was going to be brought up. She says one day that she wants to be friends with Shannon. The next, she's trying to kick her when she's down. And then I have a lot of issues with the one and only Tamra Judge as well, and her actions at this dinner, because the things that she was saying to Shannon, I I don't know. Like, do you think that Tamara has a point? Do you think that Shannon really has a drinking problem? Because I have a lot of thoughts about Tamara's like involvement in all of this too.
I think that Shannon does have a drinking problem. Um, but I think that a lot of people could say the same thing about Tamra. And I think that Tamra last season at the reunion profusely apologized for feeling like she had to come in on a 10. And in order to do so, she heavily medicated herself with alcohol in order to deliver those scenes and that drama, which is something that Lisa Vanderpump didn't have to do, like Nene Leakes didn't have to do, Bethany Frankel didn't have to do. Brandi Glanville was notorious for doing that. Brandi Glanville has said in multiple interviews that she would heavily medicate before she would go to a filming scene because she could not, like, she had bad anxiety and she could not get through it without being intoxicated. And if you have to intoxicate yourself in order to do your job, then you too, as well, have a drinking problem. You just haven't gotten the same DUI that they have yet. And that's the only difference. And I think for her to be like, "You're an alcoholic," and, like, do you think about it? She's like, "I think about it every morning." Well, do you think about it after or before you have a drink? And it's like, now at this point, that's somebody who you traveled with. That's somebody, her kids, her family. She knows your family. She's been around you, and you're not a friend. You're just not a friend. You're not a good, if you are a friend, you're not a good friend. You're a shit friend. And so watching her do that, that was one of the one times in this episode that I really agreed with Gina Kirschenheiter being like, that's not the way. If somebody has a real issue, you guys, whether you're dealing with somebody who struggles with alcohol or substance abuse, I hate this conversation. I had a friend who died because of this. So when you're dealing with something like that, you don't kick them while they're down. This is a real disease, and you help them, because when you continue to push them, one day when they're not here, you can't really help them anymore, and you'll regret not helping them.
I
So,
agree. I
yeah.
agree. I'm sorry for your loss,
No, no,
Adam.
no, no, no. I didn't mean
Um,
to go into a dark place. I'm just saying, like, for me, I don't agree with the approach at all.
no, I think that Tamra heard this about Shannon and goes, ding, ding, ding. here's my storyline next season. I am going to go after Shannon. I don't think Tamra is so wishy-washy. She's not genuine. I think that she saw this as an opportunity because let's be real, what else is she going to bring to the show besides going after Shannon, accusing Shannon of something that is extremely major to accuse somebody of? And then just continue to double down and like if you were I praise Gina and Vicky for standing up for Shannon. That is not what a friend does. These were supposedly the Tres Amigas. They were thick as thieves. They were doing a show together. You don't just dump somebody the second that they make a mistake. If anything, you're supposed to be there coddling them, the shoulder to cry on, to help them through this. And instead, you just drop them and accuse them of like the most horrible things. Like, it doesn't make sense. It makes me think that Tamra wasn't genuine to begin with. And I think that Vicky and Shannon are better off without her. I think that it was intentionally done to keep Tamra on the show and to keep her to have a storyline, since she doesn't really have much of a personal storyline going on this season. So she's making Shannon her storyline. And that's what I think.
You know, my dad, I think that there's a fine line between enabling somebody and also supporting them. And I think that you can do one without necessarily doing the other. You know, my dad has battled with his weight for a long time. He's gotten over 300 pounds, loses weight, gains weight. He doesn't use Ozempic or anything, but he's trying to be healthier. And today he said to me for the first time ever that he's like, son, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to be healthier, but for me, I want to. And it was the first time I ever heard him say that. But that's the same thing that the same way you have to look at it with somebody who has a substance abuse issue, because his vice is food, but their vice might be pasta or alcohol or whatever the case is. And they have to be the ones who realize that there is an issue in order for them to get better. So in the meantime, you decide how you want to be a part of that story. But I think if anything, the worst thing that you can do is kicking them while they're down, while trying to navigate that. That's just it's contributing. If anything, just gracefully bow out and just realize that that's not affecting you in your life in a positive way. So you can't be around it, but don't contribute to the demise of whatever they're going through, because again, one day they might not be here.
I think that's the perfect way to put it. I think that it's okay to cut ties and maybe distance yourself a little bit. But what she's doing is not, she's inserting herself and creating an issue and doubling down. And it could even cause Shannon it could even make it worse. It's definitely not going to make it any better. So I don't know. I agree. I think that, we need to be very careful about this. I think that Tamra is going about it the totally wrong way. And I don't know. I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, woof, Kim, we have been on for an hour and 4 minutes. I think this might be the longest that we've ever gone. This has been a great conversation.
I agree. A lot of darkness in the Bravo right now, but in the Bravo world right now, but it does put things into perspective for our own lives, like I said.
It does.
To bring it back full circle.
To bring it back. Well, Kim, if they don't know, well, you let them know. We're going to start with your Instagram. We're going to go to your YouTube, and then we're going to talk about what you have coming up. That way everybody can follow and be a part of the conversation.
Course, yeah, you guys know, follow me on Instagram at Bravo Breaking News. Also head over to YouTube and subscribe. We will be doing a full Real Housewives of Orange County breakdown later today, so that will be up. Stay tuned. I have a lot of thoughts. My co-host Lisa will be joining us, so make sure you tune into that. And yeah, I mean, just come say hi on Instagram. Shoot me a DM.
Yes. All right. And guys, for all of you who are listening right now, I wanted to say a huge thank you to roseforever.com. They completely sponsored my studio. So they sent us a ton of flowers. And they also wanted to make sure that you guys had full access to. So they're giving 20% off to you guys. I am going to pin that link in the comments section and also post it in the description. Check them out. And then if you guys end up buying them, they make the perfect gift. They do literally last over a year. They smell absolutely amazing. And send me photos. I want to see how you surprise whoever it is, any of your loved ones, with one of the most special gifts. My moms love them. My dad loves them. My sisters, my family, and my husband. So check them out. Kim, as for you, we will be checking into your recap. We are sending you all the love, and I hope you have the best, most beautiful weekend.
You too. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, guys. See you next week.